Deepseek is a disruptor.
Sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley.
Nvidia lost 589 billion. This is Lian Wengfeng. Or is it? The battle for the AI dominance between US and China is similar to the space race of 1960s. This 5.6 million is not the total cost of developing Deepseek V3. When you interact with Deepseek, your data doesn't just stay on your device. Three pillars that make Deepseek not just another chatbot. Deepseek had left over 1 million lines of sensitive data exposed to the open internet. China can't compete.
Accusing Deepseek of using OpenAI input, that is the kettle calling the pot black.
And US government are scared because for the first time, they might not be in control. Ask Deepseek about Xi Jinping, and it refuses to answer. Ask about Trump, and it's happy to generate criticism. That is the AI war no one is talking about.
Rapid rise of the Chinese artificial intelligence software Deepseek.
It should be a wake-up call for our industries that
Deepseek is a disruptor, and in the past few days, it has sent shockwaves through the tech world. Nvidia lost 589 billion in a single day. Biggest stock crash in history. Deepseek AI is the #1 app in US, India, and many other countries, overtaking ChatGPT overnight. And unlike OpenAI, it's completely free and open source. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, once laughed at the idea of countries like India building their own AI models.
We're going to tell you it's totally hopeless to compete with us on training foundation models you shouldn't try, and it's your job to try anyway. I think it is pretty hopeless, but
He called it totally hopeless. Yet now, Chinese company with just 200 employees have done it. Or have they? When it comes to raw performance, Deepseek is already challenging the giants. It outperforms OpenAI, Google Gemini, and Meta Llama in math, reasoning, and coding. Unlike OpenAI's paid models, Deepseek is free and open source. It uses fewer Nvidia chips than expected and yet competes at the highest levels. Deepseek is being hailed as a revolution, a movement that proves you don't need billions of dollars to build a cutting-edge AI. China has a history of making grand technological claims that collapse under scrutiny. The brain-reading AI that never worked, the traffic-straddling bus that turned out to be a scam, the so-called faster-than-light communication, and a 3-second rechargeable battery, both exposed as nothing more than hype. So is Deepseek different? Or is it just another mirage? Because if it is real, then it's as powerful as they claim. It's not just an AI, it's a paradigm shift, a game changer, a weapon. And in a world where AI shapes reality, the real question isn't how powerful it is. It's about who controls it, and why that control matters.
Can you tell who amongst us is generated by AI?
Shows AI-generated misinformation is being spread online.
We want to embark on the AI revolution.
Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes.
For years, OpenAI, Meta, and Google have controlled AI, and it seemed like no one could challenge them. But now, China has entered the game. They're not just competing, they are winning. Deepseek is primarily backed by Chinese hedge fund High Flyer Capital Management, with no financial involvement from major tech giants like Baidu or Alibaba. AI is a gatekeeper of information, and whoever controls AI controls the narrative, and that's why Deepseek is a threat. Unlike OpenAI, which has become closed AI, Deepseek is completely open sourced. No corporate gatekeeping, no Silicon Valley oversight, and no limits on who can modify it. For the first time, AI isn't blocked behind paywalls and cloud servers. Anyone can take it, tweak it, and deploy it. But here's the question. If companies can modify Deepseek, then how long before governments do the same? Perplexity AI, one of the fastest growing AI search engines, is already using a modified Deepseek, but only after stripping out PRC censorship. Microsoft is integrating Deepseek into Azure AI Foundry. It could soon power PCs, government AIs, and enterprise software. China, US, and the EU all racing to develop their own AI models. But what happens when every country has their own versions of truth? History has always been shaped by those in power, and AI is just making it faster. The same event can have entirely different narratives depending on who is telling the story. Ask a Chinese AI about the Nanjing massacre, and it calls it a war atrocity. Ask a Japanese AI, and the numbers become contested. During the Cold War, the USSR framed Eastern Europe's occupation as liberation. Western history books said the opposite. Now, AI models from different countries will do the same, rewriting history in real time. Even events like the partition of India gets conflicting accounts depending on whether the AI is trained in India or Pakistan. Deepseek is open source. Who's funding it? Who's shaping the AI that will power the next decade? Because if AI is the future of power, then to control the future, you need to ensure AI's obedience. Because an obedient AI doesn't just follow commands, it defines the world on your terms. Ask Deepseek about what happened in Xinjiang. Won't say a word. Ask about Taiwan. Sidesteps the question. Ask about the Hong Kong protests. It reframes the narrative. This isn't a glitch. This isn't by accident. This is censorship baked in its code.
Chinese government is planning to pen legislation regulating artificial intelligence.
In China, nothing operates beyond government oversight. Every company, every piece of technology, including AI, must comply with the Cyberspace Administration of China, CAC. And the consequence of disobedience? You disappear. Jack Ma, once the face of China's tech empire,
hasn't been seen in public for 2 months.
After criticizing regulators, his 37 billion IPO crushed overnight. From billionaires to celebrities, those who step out of lines are erased. Chilling warning that in China, obedience isn't a choice, it's survival. This is the environment in which Deepseek was created. It may be open source, free, and unrestricted, but it is deeply controlled. Test it yourself. Ask if Xi Jinping is a dictator. It refuses to comment on political figures. What do you think of China's government? This response is neutral, evasive, or outright dismissive. But flip the question. Ask it to critique Western leaders, and suddenly it has plenty to say. This isn't neutrality. This is deliberate, hard-coded censorship. Behind the AI's polite refusal, there is something far more concerning. Silent digital enforcer of state-approved narratives. China's AI laws are explicit. Every model must align with the state's core socialist values. It means no negative press about China, no deviation from government's version of history, no room for interpretation, only the official stance. And they are not alone. Baidu's Ernie, Tencent's Hunyan. Every Chinese AI model operates under the same restrictions. They just don't provide information, they shape it. But here's where it gets worse. Ivan Sirani, CEO of Farood, says
Deepseek reportedly has code in its programming with the built-in capability to send user data to the Chinese government,
feeding into the country's growing surveillance network. We'll talk about this later in the video. So what happens when this technology spreads globally? If millions of people start using Chinese-built AI, China gets influence over global information. Not just in China, not just in Asia, everywhere. But here's the real question. Who actually runs Deepseek? And why does almost no one know what he looks like? This is Lian Wengfeng. Or is it? If you search for the man behind China's most advanced AI, you will find almost a dozen of different faces. But here's the truth. Almost all of them are fake. Channels, articles, and even AI itself. But in reality, there's only one confirmed photo of Lian Wengfeng available on the internet. This is the only verified image of Deepseek's elusive CEO. Everything else fabricated. In the West, CEO of AI companies are public figures. Sam Altman, Elon Musk, Sundar Pichai. Their photos are everywhere, giving interviews, testifying before governments, shaping the conversations about AI. But in China, Lian Wengfeng is a ghost. No public appearances, no speeches, no social media. Even in China, many don't know what he looks like. And in a rare interview, he did speak. And what he said about Deepseek reveals a lot about China's AI ambitions. Maybe the real mystery isn't the man at all, it's what he created. A system that doesn't just process information, it refines it. A model that doesn't just predict, but reasons. Some call it artificial intelligence, others a thinking machine. If AI were a person, most of the models today would be like brilliant parrots, great at repeating what they've heard, but not truly thinking. Deepseek is different. It doesn't just memorize, it thinks. This is where chain of thought, reinforcement learning, and self-improvement comes in. 3 pillars that make Deepseek not just another chatbot, but something closer to actual intelligence. Imagine trying to solve a complex problem. Most of the AI models take a guess on step 1. But Deepseek, on the other hand, breaks the problem into smaller logical steps, like a human solving a math problem on paper. This approach is called chain of thought. That is what lets Deepseek think through the problem instead of guessing, reevaluate its own logic like a person double checking their work, solve harder problems that traditional models fail at. Most AI models learn from human labeled data, but Deepseek goes further. It learns by doing. Using reinforcement learning, it plays a constant game against itself, refining the reason, the same way AlphaGo did when it beat the world's best human players. Instead of just mimicking human written answers, Deepseek discovers new solving strategies. This trial and error approach leads to something unexpected: emergent intelligence. It learns patterns, backtracks when necessary, and even surprises its own creators. Why this changes everything? It gives us an AI that thinks instead of mimics, improves without human intervention, becomes accessible to everyone, not just big tech. Deepseek offers an early glimpse of an AI that truly reasons, and that brings us to the real battle: ChatGPT versus Deepseek. The battle for the AI dominance between US and China is similar to the space race of 1960s. Back then, it was about who got to the moon first. Now, it's about who controls the most powerful AI models. The US is putting restrictions on AI chips to slow China down, and China is finding creative ways to catch up, just like the Cold War era. But let's focus on one of those creative ways: distillation. Distillation is a method where a smaller AI model learns from a larger one. Think of it like compressing a 4K movie into a file of smaller size without losing too much quality. It helps models to run faster with more efficiency. But it has its dark side. It can be used to clone AI models. Deepseek allegedly used this technique to create a model that performs similar to OpenAI's GPT models.
Accusing Deepseek of using OpenAI inputs, that is the kettle calling the pot black. Because just like OpenAI trained ChatGPT on internet data,
they distilled the knowledge out of OpenAI's models, and I don't think OpenAI is very happy about this.
But wait, doesn't this sound similar? OpenAI itself is facing multiple lawsuits for using copyrighted data.
Times filing a federal lawsuit today against the maker of ChatGPT over copyright infringement.
George R.R. Martin, the author of Game of Thrones, and other authors claim their books were used without permission. 8 major newspapers are also suing OpenAI for scraping their content. In short, OpenAI built its empire by using data from others. And now it is accusing Deepseek of stealing from them. OpenAI is now investigating whether Deepseek cloned its models using distillation. If this is true, Deepseek took OpenAI's work just like OpenAI took its work from journalists and authors. And that's where the internet is having a field day. Some people are calling Deepseek as Robin Hood of AI, stealing from the company that stole from others. And they are seeing OpenAI's outrage as hypocrisy. Others argue that it just accelerates the AI arms race, making it even harder to regulate. And while the world debates whether Deepseek is a hero or a thief, there's a far more urgent question being asked, one that has the government scrambling and the cybersecurity experts on edge. Because Deepseek isn't just cloning AI models, it's watching you. And the more we uncover, the more disturbing it gets. Cybersecurity experts have discovered something disturbing. Canadian firm Faroot Security discovered that Deepseek doesn't just process your questions, it tracks you. Here's how. When you interact with Deepseek, your data doesn't just stay on your device. It allegedly links to China Mobile, a state-owned telecom giant. The AI fingerprints your activity, meaning it can track you across your different sessions, even if you think you are anonymous. Your keyboard typing style recognized, your conversation history stored, your personal information connected. This isn't about AI answering your questions. It's about who else is watching you. Since 2017, China has had strict regulations that require companies to share their data with the government if required. This means that data passing through China Mobile or any Chinese servers could be accessed by Beijing's intelligence agencies. Governments worldwide are starting to connect the dots, and they don't like what they see. South Korea's National Intelligence Service has already called out Deepseek for excessive data collection. They have found that every conversation is stored and used to train the AI. Data is being transferred internationally, possibly without the user's consent. Australia and Taiwan have followed the suit, either restricting or closely monitoring Deepseek's activity. Italy's privacy watchdog outright banned the app after finding that Deepseek's data policies failed to meet privacy regulations. The message is clear. This isn't about AI, it's about control. And then something even more alarming happened. A cybersecurity firm Wiz discovered that Deepseek had left over 1 million lines of sensitive data exposed to the open internet. What kind of data are we talking about? Digital software keys, which could allow hackers to manipulate the AI itself, user chat logs, Actual conversations people had had with Deepseek, personalized AI prompts, tracking back to specific individuals. Deepseek moved quickly to patch the leak, but the damage was done. For the skeptics who thought concerns about Deepseek was just paranoia, this was the wake-up call. Deepseek isn't just a chatbot. It's a mirror reflecting the future where we are headed. A future where every conversation, every keystroke, every digital footprint is tracked. Not just by corporations, but by governments. And yet, we are supposed to believe that that future was just built at $5.6 million? Let's break that illusion. They claim that they have trained their latest AI model, Deepseek V3, for just 5.6 million US dollars. AI model developed at a fraction of what OpenAI or Google spent. This number is misleading. Let's start with the basics. Deepseek itself provided this breakdown in their technical report. This 5.6 million is not the total cost of developing Deepseek V3. Instead, it refers to just one thing: the cost of renting GPUs for the final successful training run. That's it. Nothing more. Here's the breakdown of the costs. They didn't buy the GPUs, they rented it, and they assumed the rate to be around $2 per hour. And that's how they arrived at this $5.6 million figure. This means that if they had to do additional training, tweak parameters, or just experiment, none of that is included in this cost. They even put the cost in US dollars instead of just reporting GPU hours. Why? Because they knew exactly who they were trying to impress. A single training run doesn't create a world-class AI model. There's a lot more that goes into it. And all of that costs money. A lot of money. Research and development costs. AI development isn't just about one successful training run. How many failed models came before Deepseek V3? How much money did they spend on research? That's the number they are not disclosing. Data costs. To train Deepseek, they processed 14.8 trillion tokens. Where did they get this data? Was it licensed? Did they scrape it? Either way, preparing a high-quality data set is expensive and time-consuming. Personnel and salaries. Deepseek operates with just 200 employees, compared to OpenAI's 3,500. Maintaining a large AI model requires highly qualified engineers and researchers. And guess what? Those salaries don't come cheap. Infrastructure costs. Keeping GPUs running at full capacity for months isn't just about electricity. Data centers, cooling, maintenance, and security. These costs are also not added into Deepseek's claim. Hardware costs. Deepseek reportedly has over 50,000 NVIDIA GPUs. Even if they rented some, they must own a significant number. And if they had to buy these chips, the cost would go to hundreds of $millions. Many AI experts aren't buying this 5.6 million claim.
I don't really buy into a lot of it about how they spent just $5 million to train this model that is competitive or beating a lot of US options.
Palmer Luckey called it bogus, suggesting it was pushed by Chinese hedge funds to manipulate investments in American AI companies. Bailan Patel from Semi-Analysis also pointed out that Deepseek has over 50,000 GPUs, not just the 10,000 some people assumed. So what's the real cost of Deepseek's AI ambitions? Some analysts estimate that Deepseek's total R&D budget could be around 100 million. Others suggest that their operations might cost anywhere between 500 million to 1 billion per year. So does the 5.6 million sound realistic anymore? If you're wondering why this matters, just look at how much money was wiped from NVIDIA's stock value after this announcement. AI development isn't cheap. And when a company claims that they built a state-of-art model for pennies on a dollar, someone is lying. They called it a side project with 5.6 million. So is it really a side project? Or is it something much bigger? There's a narrative floating around that Deepseek is just a side project. That a few researchers randomly decided to burn $5.6 million to flex on billion-dollar companies like OpenAI and Google. This is not wrong. This is laughably wrong. Let's get one thing straight. Deepseek didn't just pop up overnight. They have been publishing some of the best AI research since late 2023. Their breakthrough didn't just come out of thin air. They built on years of research, just like OpenAI, Google, and every other major AI lab. And yet, somehow they are being framed as cheap knockoff. Deepseek version 1, Jan 2024, the foundation. Deepseek Math, Feb 2024, specialization in mathematical reasoning. Deepseek V2, May 2024, a major leap forward. Deepseek V3, November 2024, the model that set the stage for R1. Deepseek R1, 2025, their first major breakthrough. Their CEO has a clear vision. Open source isn't just a buzzword, it's a badge of honor. It's about scientific progress, not just shareholder value. Meanwhile, OpenAI is moving the other way. OpenAI started as non-profit, founded on the idea of making AI safe and accessible. But now, they are shifting into a for-profit structure. And guess who benefits? Sam Altman and OpenAI investors. So let me get this straight. OpenAI, a company which literally has open in its name, is locking down AI models for profits. And meanwhile, this Chinese firm is funding open source AI research for free. Which one do you think is accelerating AI research faster? But Deepseek isn't truly open source. Now some people are nitpicking. Deepseek isn't actually open source because they didn't release the training code. Really? Okay, let me ask you this. When was the last time a major AI lab released its fully training data and code for a state-of-art language model? I'll wait. Yeah, never. This isn't just about China versus America. It's about who controls the future of AI. Right now, the battle is between two visions. Closed corporate AI, designed to maximize shareholder profits. Open source AI, built to push humanity forward. Deepseek is proving that open source AI can still compete. And that is making some people very, very uncomfortable. Once OpenAI was built on a promise, a non-profit dedicated to ensuring AI benefits humanity, not just corporations. Fast forward to today, that promise is dead. Now OpenAI is shifting towards profit-driven control, and Sam Altman is about to get equity in the company he leads. So what exactly happened? And why does this massive shift matter more than what you think? In 2015, OpenAI launched as a non-profit. Their goal? To develop AI safely, not to let a single company or government control AGI. To make sure AI advancements benefit humanity, not just shareholders. But in 2019, things had already changed. OpenAI introduced a capped profit model, creating a new for-profit entity. Microsoft invested $1 billion, followed by another $10 billion in 2023. Suddenly, OpenAI wasn't just an AI research lab. It was a corporate machine, serving investors first. And now, they are officially removing non-profit control. Sam Altman and OpenAI's key figures will get equity, a stake in company's success. The non-profit board that fired Sam Altman in 2023, gone. They lost all power. The mission to benefit humanity is now secondary to making money. Microsoft now owns the entire infrastructure OpenAI runs on. They host ChatGPT on Azure. They have exclusive rights to OpenAI's models. And with OpenAI going full for profit, guess who benefits? Not you, not the public. Microsoft and OpenAI's investors. But this shift isn't happening in vacuum. Because while OpenAI is securing its corporate future, US government is making sure China can't compete. In October 2022, the US government banned Nvidia from exporting H100 chips to China. These are the most powerful GPUs for training AI models. This move was a direct response to China's rising AI capabilities. And guess what? It didn't stop DeepSeek. And that's why OpenAI, Microsoft, and US government are scared. Because for the first time, they might not be in control. And now, two futures are emerging. Future 1. AI becomes a walled garden. AI models are locked behind paywalls and regulations. Handful of tech giants and governments decide who gets access. Progress is controlled, not for humanity's benefit, but for profit and power. Future 2. AI is open and decentralized. Anyone, anywhere can build and improve AI. AI evolves faster because ideas are shared, not hoarded. No single entity can control intelligence. The question is, which future are we headed towards? Because OpenAI and US government aren't backing down. DeepSeek and China, they have just begun.